Good morning, everybody. On these videos, you're going to get, as you can see, when you see them, there'll be like a bunch of little YouTube videos all hooked up in one with the other one. As I attempt to slow down on my videos and updates and all, I got to keep talking. I'm out here praying today, and I'm laughing. I'm kind of laughing, thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to turn it on. I read a scripture. I might title this one, and Satan has entered into them. Jesus sat with the disciples, and I want you to see, as I kind of just quote off the cuff a lot of these little things. I want you to just see, sometimes we read the Gospels or we read the New Testament, the Bible, and we kind of, have a tendency to just read through it. But we don't always have all the other things that were going through the heads of the disciples, or how they were, taking everything. And so when he sat with them at the Last Supper, and he takes the bread, and he says, he gives thanks. He gives thanks. He blesses it, meaning he gives thanks. He breaks it, and then he gives it to his guys. And he says, now this is my body, broken for you. And I've been trying to show you on some of the little talks I've been having that there has to be a lot of questions that his disciples have as they're there. And he's making statements like this. And then he says, he takes the cup, the wine, and he said, and this is my blood which is shed for many. It's shed for you. And he gives thanks. He gives thanks. And then he enters into his agony. His agony. And it says his soul was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. And he was praying, Father, if this cup can pass from me, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And his man, can't you pray with me? They keep falling asleep. And he was grateful that he understood, even though his men did not, that the cross was the purpose of God for him. And that's kind of one of the themes. I don't want to do a teaching thing on any of these short ones. But it's just that you could get stuff from that, because they did not understand that that was the purpose of God. And when Peter tries to dissuade Jesus from crucifixion, he says, Jesus rebukes him. And Peter makes the great confession, and when he asks them, who do men say that I am? Remember, in the context of some of the talks I'm having, there was a lot of questions about him. I showed you that. But Peter gives the right confession. You're the Christ, the Son of the Blessed. And Jesus says, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father which is in heaven. And then he tells him he's going to be crucified. Son of Man's going to be delivered into the hands of sinful men, and they're going to kill him. And then Peter rebukes him and says, "When far be it, we can't let this happen." And Jesus says to him, get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Peter was on a different track, and he didn't see the cross. Peter did not see the cross as part of the purpose of God. And in a sense, we live in a day where much of the popular preaching in televangelism does not see the cross as part of the purpose of God. Much of it is just, no, we want the things of men. And if we can use God and our relationship with God to obtain the things of men, that's kind of where we're at as an American church. And the thing on, why would I have titled it, and Satan has entered into him? And the scripture says, after he sat with his men, and then they were sharing the food, and then it says Satan entered into Judas, and he sought opportunity to betray Jesus. And some of the things were just the posts that are going to all go with this one, 5 or 6 little YouTube things. You could see that in our city here, obviously, when you have the top district attorney who's the top lawyer for the city, and you have cases of false testimony, hiding of evidence. This is not new. This is years and years and years, because I've read this, how many of the local defense attorneys were saying for years. They are absolutely criminals in this DA's office. This is some of the stuff from within. Now you actually have testimony in court, published in the paper. These are enough to hide evidence, to use false testimony, or to suborn false testimony from people. When you have advice from a medical doctor that a certain killing went a certain way, and you pressure that man to change, and then now you're in court, and they're doing an open, now it's a public relations thing, they're preparing, to defend themselves in case criminal charges are brought against the top lawyer in the city. You want people to move to this city, besides all the other things that you've heard me discuss. When Holtzclaw is that officer who just got sentenced to 263 years in prison, he was consistently raping under poor black women who had drug problems, consistently, making them give him oral sex. And then he stopped this 50-something-year-old black lady, Sunday school teacher, and her testimony has now come out in the media and all, and she was afraid he was going to kill her, and he made that woman perform oral sex. What that lady said, this came out in the last few weeks in some of the news stories, because she's telling her story, and she said when she was in the hospital after he raped that woman or made her give him oral sex, one of the police detectives that works there, a woman, went to interview her in the hospital. And that black lady said, she says, "You're not going to believe it, I thought he was going to shoot me." And that police detective told the woman who was assaulted by Holtzclaw, she said, "Oh, no, we know he's been doing this." And that older woman simply said, "I don't understand. If they knew he was doing it, I guess they were just warning him over a period of years. Man, you got to let up on the rapes of the civilian drug addicts because it doesn't look good on us. But Officer Holtzclaw, we don't really want to, arrest you because you're a cop, so we would prefer you just slow down on the rapes of these and I have given you stories, and I have given names. And our little city now, from the few that I'm familiar with that I know has gone on, because I write Justice Department and I give names and addresses, now we're on the map. So I don't have to follow or look, because I've given all that. So we roll. So now, for that one thing that I'm familiar with that I've talked about over the years, which is it's almost like a Holtzclaw situation with an officer here in this city who did those things. It just happened to be on men, friends of mine, with the same histories. So that's all gone now. That's all. I didn't, and initially I used to send that to the DA, prosecutors, but obviously you could see that they all, false testimony and what they're doing, all of this, the DA should be arrested. He should be put in prison without bond. So that was the title that Satan has now entered into. Just that one story that I just shared. That black Sunday school teacher who the cop was raping her. And she was shocked that when the other detective, the female detective, came to interview her, basically said, "Oh no, we know. Yeah, he's been raping a lot over the years. We were hoping maybe we wouldn't get caught." That's not law enforcement. That's not justice. You get criminals, and you can see it in our local media. You're looking at it. You're looking at these guys saying, trying to lie and say, "Oh, the medical examiner changed his opinion and it's so dude." Yeah, you threaten him. When he gives a response, you're trying to get him to change his testimony, and then he gives a response, "I could live with 3 feet." They were saying, "Look, We don't like what you gave. You said that the gun, the shotgun, you said, Mr. Medical Examiner, the shotgun was against the victim, but that doesn't fit. We need convictions in this city. We don't need justice. We just need to send people off, because that's how we keep our jobs. So change it. And he says, I could live with 3 feet. And all this comes out in the paper. And the public could read all of this and yet think, oh, well, we've got our little businesses we got to do. And you need to be concerned with justice. You're a Christian? You say, I'm a Christian, John. I'm a cop. Do what's right. You know, the last few months, and I pray for all, I pray for the nations right here, all in authority, the president, his family, all nations leaders, and then I pray for the courts, the prosecutors, all the people that are in jail. I weekly stand here and pray. The last month and a half, when I lift up, and I have prayed for the prosecutors even before this came out, I said, bless them with righteousness. I just began saying, bless them with righteousness. Bless them with righteousness. Meaning, when that comes out into the light, you should never have, and we have that right in this section where I live, you should never have ongoing criminal activity by law enforcement that's so common on the streets. And I'm very familiar with it, because most of you who know my ministry know I've been working with these guys for years, and sometimes even on videos I have to tell them, look, I don't want you telling too much. Some of my friends, I don't want giving names of my friends that are basically involved in it. That's how come I know all this is true. And it's known on the street. It's known on the street. The ones that... So you have basically a host claw on this department. But the difference in this city is they know it and they let it go. They let it go. And they pursue people I've had friends threatened. So my advice would be, if you're thinking of locating to Corpus Christi, I never knew it was that entrenched here in this city. And we're very close to Mexico. We get a lot of illegal drug deals that are involved in the city, reselling of things. And it's known in the streets. And cops, when there's stuff that cops they know it. Okay? My friends know this. They work. It's organized crime. And their office is right in it. Getting money. Years and years and years and years and years of this. And it's open. It's not hidden in this city. But I've put names. So now with the lights on this place forever, you say, John, I'm one of the ones you've been reporting. Well, your life has changed, because your name, and I don't look for you, but your name and your address and everything's with the Justice Department, with a bunch of agencies, and the names of my friends that you did things to. All that's gone. All they're going to do is decide to interview some of the people, and then there'll be a warrant on an officer who will be arrested. So, that's how we like to roll. Beautiful day. A lot of updates. I'm going to go help my daughter fix her plumbing. God bless.